My very first memory as a child was waiting at the doorway, looking out the window, and waiting on my father to come home. And I just remember I knew exactly what time that would be, and my mom would open the door, and I would race out to greet my dad. I would just run down that sidewalk, and he was so excited to see me, and I would just jump into his arms. And it was such a carefree feeling. So much joy was expressed in those moments, and I would do it every single day. And it was habit. And that ended very suddenly, a lot more quickly than what I would have ever wanted. My parents got divorced. Life evolved very quickly from a young age. My mom got remarried to a man who had 2 children, a son and a daughter. At the age of 4, I had a new stepfather, a new stepbrother, and a new stepsister. And I remember very soon after that, my stepbrother fondling me at that age, and not knowing what that was or why he was doing that, and going to my parents and talking to them about that, and them doing something about it, but it didn't stop. Even though they took measures to try to make it stop, it didn't. And so for 6 years, I experienced sexual abuse in the home, and it shattered what was supposed to be safe. The place that was supposed to be safe for me was shattered. And I just remember so many nights feeling very alone in a very dark and broken place. I remember coming home from school and being given tasks, chores, just to unload the dishwasher. And I would go over, and there were moments that I wanted a brother who was gonna protect me and who was gonna be there for me. That's what they're supposed to be like. And I remember asking for help and just being like, I'm not tall enough to reach the top shelf. Can you please put this cup up? And I remember, instead of him taking it from me, he would reach between my legs and lift me up from there to put up a cup. Why? I just would ask myself what I had ever done to deserve to be treated this way. And there was no answer. It just was. That was just my life for years. I remember wanting to be rescued. I wanted a man on a horse to ride up and take me out of that place, to save me. At the age of 10, I remember getting a knife out and just wanting to be done with my life. And I remember holding it to my heart and thinking, oh, if I could just end it right now, just be done. But I couldn't do it. I remember holding my breath and saying, if I could just hold my breath long enough, the pain will stop. This empty feeling, this void, the void that I felt when my father left only became increasingly more as the abuse continued. And so I had many attempts of wanting to commit suicide at a very young age, to which I could never do it. And while Jesus wasn't spoken of in our home, I didn't know who God was. I knew He was there. I knew He was with me. The 7th grade, there was a girl who encouraged me to go to youth night. I remember just being so swept up in the music and the worship, and it seemed so alive, and it was something that I was hungering for and had no idea. And I remember, that night accepting Jesus into my heart. And it didn't make the things that I faced after that any easier. I still had so many struggles, so many scars and wounds that I needed to heal from. But I knew Him. I accepted Him, I believed in Him, and I wanted to know Him more. I recall once the abuse stopped, he was out of the house, and he was 18, and I remember thinking, now it's over, it's done. But really, the battle that I faced was only beginning. I spent so many years not knowing who I was. I was a lost little girl, and I had no identity. I was a Jane Doe. I remember being so numb and just wanting to feel something. And so it led me down a road that was filled with self-mutilation, promiscuity, wanting to control something because I felt so out of control. So I controlled my eating through bulimia and anorexia. Did drugs, drank, battled horrible anxiety. I spent so many years trying to fill a void, trying to get that emptiness to go away with all of the wrong things. There were so many times that I just was wanting perfection, and I think it was out of feeling so unworthy and so ashamed and so much guilt that I was seeking perfection, thinking that if I was pretty enough or skinny enough or deemed worthy enough by others, that then I would be accepted. I would be acceptable. I wouldn't be so dirty. Age 16, 17, my sister was date raped. And it was like everything that I had been suppressing about my abuse just rushed to the surface. And it paralyzed me. Literally, I could not speak. I remember my mom being so confused as to what was going on, and walking me up the stairs and having to wash my face, and I couldn't talk. I couldn't breathe. Just completely overwhelmed. And I remember telling my parents about what had happened, they didn't realize the extent of what had gone on. And I'll never forget my stepfather standing up for me and saying, "This was wrong, and we're gonna do something about it." We went to court, and my stepbrother was tried as a juvenile and an adult. And I remember sitting in that courtroom, much older at this point, and still feeling like a little girl. He was sentenced for 18 years and went to prison for a very long time. And you would think that in that time that I would feel the safety of him being put away. But I didn't. I was still trying to fill a void. Still wanting to be rescued. I never thought that I would ever heal from the abuse. I thought that even though he was sentenced and even though that happened, that I would live with a lifetime sentence and that I would never recover. But that was a lie. That wasn't the truth. They're not just believing in God, but getting to know Him. He took each wound, each part of me that needed healing, and He stripped it away. And He loved me and showed me what it means to be filled with Him. What it means to be an overcomer. What it means to be strong and to not feel like I have to do it all alone. To not feel like I have to be enough because I'm enough with Him. He is sovereign and so good. And no matter where you are, God meets you right there. He met me when I was a little girl and didn't even know Him. He was there. And He met me when I was a teenager and trying to find my way and failing miserably. He was still there. Even in my 20s and now my 30s, I see the evidence of God all around me. I didn't think that I could ever forgive. How can I forgive someone who hurt me so deeply, who betrayed me? But in order for God to truly heal the wounds in our hearts, you have to open yourself up to even the idea of forgiveness. And in that release and forgiveness for Him, there's freedom. I found freedom, and in the freedom, there's healing. And in the healing, there's an overcomer. There's an overcomer. I was able to lay down insecurities, fear, rejection, intimidation, abandonment, betrayal, lies. I traded all that in for the love of Christ, that it would fill me so full that I would be so full of the love of God. That He would work through me to inspire others to overcome just like I have. I'm so thankful that I found the one who loves my soul, that I found the one who really does rescue. His name is Jesus. He was the man on the white horse that I was wanting to come in and rescue me, and He did. And He did. My stepbrother is out of prison. My family is working on being restored to a really beautiful place. There's redemption there. I am a beloved child of God. I'm an overcomer. I'm healed. All because of the one, Jesus.